Hey, this is Life for Shauna and I'm here back with another video. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. This video is about cheating couples ending death. Let's watch the video.
When cheating on your wife ends in murder. He was cheating on his wife with this woman who was cheating on her husband with him. And in the end, two of these people ended up dead. And as my Valentine's, you guys should go check out the newest episode of Hot on the Case that is out everywhere right now. Mark and Janaire met when they were only teenagers. Mark was into Janaire right away, but it would be another 4 years until Janaire agreed to go out with him. Mark found Janaire very attractive. She was very exciting. She was cooler than him. Pretty much everyone was in agreement that Janaire was way out of Mark's league. The two married in 1993. They did not have any children. They had dogs. Everybody assumed that they were the perfect couple, but by 2017, they were actually fighting a lot, mostly because they were having money troubles. So Mark got a new job in Delaware. Mark and his wife Janaire lived in South Carolina, so they were going to have to move states for Mark's new job. And at first, Janaire stayed in South Carolina for a little bit so she could rent out their house, get everything situated while Mark went ahead to Delaware to start his new job. And Mark's new boss at his new job in Delaware was this woman named Meredith Chapman. Meredith was 15 years younger than Mark. She's obviously very beautiful, but she was also very successful. She ran for state senate when she was only 32 years old and was honored as one of Delaware's 40 under 40. So a very, very impressive young woman. There was an instant connection between Mark and Meredith. He was absolutely wowed by her. He particularly liked that she praised him and said nice things about him because he said that his wife no longer said nice things about him. Mark actually ended up turning down a better job offer because he wanted to stay and work for Meredith because he had this crush on her. One night, the two went out for drinks and they talked and talked for hours. Mark told Meredith that he was falling out of love with his wife Janaire, that things just weren't exciting anymore, things had gotten stale, and that all they did was fight. Meredith was also married to a man named Luke, and she also felt like she was falling out of love with her husband and that the two of them were just together out of convenience. And that night, Mark and Meredith shared a kiss, which was the beginning of a full-on affair. And mind you, Mark's wife Janaire is back in South Carolina, about to uproot her entire life and move states for his job, and he's there cheating on her. And by the time that Janaire was even ready to move to Delaware to be with her husband and his mistress were already saying that they were in love with each other. And Janaire instantly knew when she got to Delaware that there was something off, that something was different, that her husband was acting weird and distant, but her husband Mark denied that there was anyone else. Janaire just started doing her own investigation. She put a tracker in her husband's car. She bought a bunch of recording devices. She even hacked into his computer and his phone. And on Valentine's Day, Janaire confronted her husband Mark with proof that he was having an affair with Meredith. And since he was caught, Mark confessed and he told his wife Janaire that he was actually in love with Meredith and he wanted to be with her instead. And Janaire knew that he was cheating, but she did not know that they were in love with each other. She thought maybe it was just a physical thing. And remember, she has just moved states for him. She has just uprooted her entire life for this man. Could you even imagine the betrayal? Janaire begged Mark to stay and Mark agreed to go to marriage counseling. But before one of their sessions, Mark actually found recording devices that his wife Janaire had sewn into all of his clothing, which really upset Mark. He felt like it was an invasion of privacy. They ended up going to only 3 marriage counseling sessions before Mark decided what he wanted was Meredith and he wanted to divorce Janaire and be with Meredith instead. Meredith actually ended up divorcing her husband. She took a new job in Pennsylvania and moved to Pennsylvania, and the plan was for Mark to divorce Janaire and then follow her to Pennsylvania. Where Meredith moved in Pennsylvania was only a couple-hour drive from where Mark and Janaire lived in Delaware, but I think Janaire was hoping with Meredith out of the state that it would kind of be like an out of sight, out of mind for her husband Mark and that she would be able to win him back. Janaire had assumed because Meredith moved to Pennsylvania that Mark and Meredith were no longer seeing each other, and Janaire actually began to demand that Mark and her do things together. They go on walks together, they go on trips together, they go on nice dinners together while they were proceeding with a divorce. Go on trips, go on walks, do things together, go on dinners while they were in the process of getting divorced. And I think that Jenner was doing this in hopes that Mark would change his mind. And on April 23rd, 2018, Mark and Jenner actually had plans to go on one of these dinners. They had dinner plans, and at this time, their divorce was nearly finalized. Mark was at the restaurant waiting for his soon-to-be ex-wife Jenner to get there when Jenner sent him a text that said that she was actually running late, that she was stuck in traffic. A couple minutes later, she texted him that she was not coming and that he should just go home. And that's because Jenner was never going to that restaurant. She actually drove all the way to Pennsylvania to Meredith's house. Jenner had gone through Meredith's trash can that was outside and sent Mark a photo of Meredith's trash that contained proof that the two of them were still sleeping together. Jenner then texted her husband Mark, "You ruined my life. I hope you never find happiness." And then she sent, "Bye, Mark." After that final text, Jenner and Meredith were no longer answering Mark's phone calls or his text messages, so he got in his car and he drove all the way to Pennsylvania to Meredith's house. And inside of Meredith's home were the bodies of Meredith and Jenner. Both of them were tragically gone. Jenner had shot Meredith and then herself. Jenner had become so obsessed with jealousy and her hatred for Meredith until she just snapped. If she couldn't have Mark, there was no way she was gonna let Meredith have him either. Jenner had begun to stalk Meredith. Meredith's neighbors say that Jenner would be outside of Meredith's house all hours, day and night, in disguises and wigs before this happened. And it's absolutely insane because before any of this happened, Jenner was never violent. She was a very caring, sweet person. This was so unlike her at all. And it's really scary how anyone could just snap like this. This is a very tragic case, and a lot of people put 100% all the blame on Mark and think that he drove Jenner to do this. It's really wild how he had trouble choosing between these two women. He wanted these two women, and in the end, Mark ended up with neither of them. Mark ended up publishing a book about this, which is quite controversial. I didn't read it, but I assume it's just controversial because people really hate Mark, and I think anything he did would have come with some backlash. I'm really interested to hear what you guys think about this case. I already know that the comments could potentially get a little bit heated on this one. So let me know all your thoughts in the comments. When you're there, please let me know what case you want to see me cover next. Let me know if you've seen the newest episode of Hot in the Case. And until then, I will see you guys next time.
Honestly, if they didn't want to be with each other, they should have just divorced and got together with each other. Not together with each other, but they should just switch partners, because at this point, there's no point of constantly sneaking around and being with other people, which they did divorce and they did end up being with each other, but taking lives, who's doing that? Alright, if y'all like this video, you know what to do. Comment below. This is Life with Sean Renee, and there's more videos on the way. Bye.